Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. All 20-plus points per game scores just rolling out of bed. All still relatively in their prime, all on the same team in the Brooklyn Nets. How did the potential greatest offense ever assembled next to the KD Warriors just fall apart? So today, we'll dive into how the Nets somehow built the KD, Kyrie, and Harden super team, just how scary good this trio was when they did play together, and why it was so tragic for it to fall apart. This is Topic Tackle. Let's go. What's good, people? JC3 here. Appreciate you tuning in once again to Topic Tackle, where, we dive deep into the basketball world. We see through the storylines and narratives and give you the perspective that the media doesn't venture to. So if you're tired of all that shallow analysis out there and you want to become a deep diver, go ahead and hit subscribe and leave a like on this video. I greatly appreciate it. So here we go with the complete timeline of the Brooklyn Nets rise and fall with the KD, Kyrie, Harden Big Three. And right after the timeline, I'm going to make the biggest point of this video to show why it was so tragic that this team fell apart. What I discovered actually shocked me, so stay tuned. It all started in the summer of 2019 when the Nets acquired Kyrie in free agency, and KD was soon to follow. The Friends' plan of joining forces as a duo in the Big Apple came together, just not in the place that many speculated it would.
This is the absolute worst day in the history of the New York Knicks franchise. The New York Knicks have lost New York to the Brooklyn Nets.
Eventually.
No way. That's insane.
After going through the entire 2019-20 season without KD as he was recovering from his Achilles tear, the Nets hired Steve Nash as their head coach before the 2020-21 season. He had previous experience with Durant in Golden State as a player development consultant and was thought to be an offensive-minded coach for an offensive-minded team. The 2020-21 season began a few days before Christmas due to the pandemic pushing the previous season into the fall, so this meant that early in the season it was already January, and there were rumblings about James Harden wanting out of Houston. The Nets stepped up and made a trade happen to acquire Harden, but they had to mortgage their future to do it, shipping away noticeable young talent in Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, 3 first-round picks in 2022, 24, and 26, and 4 first-round pick swaps in 21, 23, 25, and 27. Injuries seemed to hit the Nets right away following the trade, and the trio entered the 2021 postseason having played just 8 games together. Despite being unable to develop any consistency together, they turned in their most notable performance in Game 4 of the opening round of the 2021 playoffs at Boston, where they combined for 104 points. 104 points between 3 players, people. Granted, it was against a severely undermanned Celtics team that was basically Jason Tatum versus the world, but still, 3 players combining for 104 points is a rare sight. After beating Boston 4-1, the Nets entered the second round as the heavy favorites versus the Bucks, and that's when James Harden severely injured his hamstring just 20 seconds into Game 1. Still, KD and Kyrie blew Milwaukee off the floor in Games 1 and 2, and after the Bucks took Game 3, Kyrie landed awkwardly on Giannis's foot in Game 4, injuring his ankle and putting him out for the rest of the series. Harden returned in Game 5 essentially on one leg, and it was up to KD to will the Nets to victory, and he did in Game 5 with a historic 49-point triple-double. Despite Harden playing on one leg and all odds stacked against them in Game 7, KD still nearly willed the Nets to the Eastern Conference Finals, but as this era of Nets basketball was, what should have been triumph ended in pain as his big toe was on the line on the shot that would have advanced Brooklyn. Talk about being inches away. Then the 2021-22 season opened with the VID jab mandate. Kyrie opted out of taking it and would miss home games due to an NYC mandate. The Nets wouldn't instate him as a part-time player, so he was essentially out of the picture at season's beginning. Despite this, KD and Harden put in work to start the season. They led the Nets to the best record in the East and eventually reinstated Kyrie for road games in early January 2022. But then KD went down with another knee injury, again, not even 2 weeks later. Brooklyn would go on to lose 11 games in a row, and in the midst of this stretch, Harden was still struggling with his hamstring and got to a point where he didn't even dress for games. It was rumored that Harden had beef with Kyrie because of his refusal to take the jab. He even said this in a press conference.
Kind of hope that in some kind of fashion, we'll see Kai play in the
I'm going to give him a shot if I got to.
Harden didn't think that Kyrie was being a team player, and over this stretch, he lost faith in the direction of the franchise. And to add on, once he got traded to Philly, he stated that that's where he wanted to get traded to in the first place. So, yep, There's that. All right, let's pause for a quick shout out to Rakuten, who is not sponsoring this video, by the way. They're just the #1 option for cash back with online shopping. I use Rakuten, whether it's through the website or the app, every time I shop online, and I have a link in the description down below. Now, I'm completely transparent. This is an affiliate link. I will get credit if you go to this link, but most importantly, you will get credit, because when you spend $30, you'll get $30 back, and whatever store that you're shopping at, depending on the cash back that they're giving right now, you'll get that percentage back as well. It's legit. I've used this for years. Think about it like this. Support my channel through the link by buying whatever you want online. That's a pretty good deal, right? Let's get back to the video. The 2021-22 season was supposed to be the first full season for the Nets' big three to play together at full strength. Instead, it ended in a Harden trade just a little over a year after he arrived, in a massive deal that again saw the Nets mortgage their future on him, only to wind up with Ben Simmons instead. Harden played a total of 80 regular season games for the Nets and one playoff series of 5 games healthy. So this meant that the trio played just 16 games together throughout the 2020-21 and 2021-22 regular seasons and 2021 playoffs, due to injuries. Another way of putting it is this: out of the 113 possible games the trio could have appeared in, they played in just 14% of them. This is absolutely tragic, not only for the Nets, who gave up so much to make this big three a reality, but for the fans of the game, who saw just about the quickest glimpse of what could have been possible with this big three. In 10 regular season games together, KD, Kyrie, and Harden combined to average 68.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 6.9 assists, making them essentially responsible for 82.1 points per game, if assuming that all their assists were on 2-point baskets. For comparison, in 162 regular season games together, KD, Steph, and Klay combined to average 71.7 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 5 assists, making them essentially responsible for 81.7 points per game, if assuming that all their assists were on 2-point baskets. Yes, I know about the inaccuracies you can face when comparing sample sizes with this much of a discrepancy between the two, but man, this just hammers home how tragic it was for this trio to fall apart before they can even get started. There's no doubt in my mind that the rest of the league dodged a huge bullet with what they would have had to deal with should the KD-Kyrie-Harden Superteam had been able to establish chemistry through consistently playing together. Yes, injuries ruined any chances they ever had to play consistently together. Yes, the Nets franchise couldn't maintain an atmosphere from ownership to management to coaching to players that contributed to long-term success. But most apparent is the variable that no one saw coming, and it's that VID and the mandate to follow absolutely destroyed this team's chances of establishing chemistry. Should the mandate have not been in place, Kyrie would have started the 2021-22 season with the team, and we would have seen KD, Kyrie, and Harden begin the season together. And yes, even Harden himself admits that he was still trying to get right from the hamstring injury he suffered in the 2021 semifinals. But looking at the numbers he posted in the 21-22 season, he was still pretty good for a player that admittedly wasn't even 100%, if you ask me. It's just such a shame that we couldn't ever see this all-star, once-in-a-generation talent who were all still relatively in their primes play together more than 16 games and one playoff series healthy. Admittedly, this is where the subjective side of me comes into play a little bit, because while I don't have a particular team that I'm a diehard fan of, KD and Kyrie are some of my favorite players, and I've always appreciated James Harden's incredible offensive talent. When Harden got traded to Brooklyn, I was hyped, for real. Okay, I rarely buy team-themed apparel, but after the trade, I actually went out and bought the Nets City Edition 90s throwback shorts. Boom. See that? From the 2020-21 season. And you know what? Even with all these players traded away, I don't regret it, by the way. These are still fire in my opinion. After Brooklyn ran through the opening round of the 2021 playoffs, there was no doubt in my mind that this was their year to win the title. Plus, the 2021 playoffs were going on later than usual due to the schedule getting pushed back, so we got to watch elite basketball during a time of the year when usually nothing but baseball is on. And honestly, for a guy who had just graduated college, I wanted nothing else but to watch this team at full strength, dominating the league, all the while knowing that once the games were done, I had no homework to do. And I don't know, perhaps I'm being a bit too sentimental and emotional here, and I don't know about you, but I remember certain seasons in my life based on what was going on in the sports world, and this time was definitely marked by the far too short dominance of the KD, Kyrie, and Harden Nets. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is the KD, Kyrie, Harden Nets super team the biggest what-if super team in NBA history? And if not, who else is? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll be back with more Topic Tackle coming soon. As always, stay solid, people.